Hey guys, welcome back to I Am Not Your Father, and You're Not. Today, on my kind of unboxing miniature version of the Chevrolet Spark EV, was asked some questions, so I decided to delve into this a little bit farther, maybe give a little more of an in-depth explanation on this. So we're going to do the 10-minute power hour of putting your smart on. So bear with me here. I've got mine on. I punched up the old googleizer here on the laptop, and we are going to a vlog or well, it's not a vlog, it's a blog or article. It's called Inside EVs, and just how long will a EV's battery last. Um, I've got a lot of different things from folks saying that, my Spark or my Leaf or whatever is suffering from battery degradation. And the biggest thing that I think is that, your battery is going to degrade a little bit. It's not going to last forever. But then again, at the same time, neither is an engine in your vehicle. So your battery pack really should be a integral lifetime part on the vehicle. Should the event arise where you need to replace it, there are replacements available. No, they are not cheap right now. However, we are very new to the technology, and I've seen, for instance, the battery pack in my car has dropped from $7,000 down to $4,100 plus installation. Now, yeah, that's expensive. However, the warranty on the battery lasts for 8 years, 100,000 miles, and I think they're actually doing this to be a feel-good type warranty at this time. Probably be the best way to describe it. Uh, so we're going to go through some of this stuff here. I'm not going to bore you to death because normally we have a little bit of fun here, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different than normal today while I'm thinking up other ideas. God help us all. So here we are. EV batteries don't last forever, they're expensive to replace. Is this a cause for concern? Maybe. Now I'm going to read some of this stuff to you guys, not word for word, but here's the deal: is that when you first buy your newest smartphone, let's put it this way, you buy a smartphone, and these things are, you know, what we keep them with us for a year, maybe two, and they're we got such a small battery pack to power this phone. Okay, but they're also, we drain them completely, then we charge them all the way. We drain them completely, we charge them all the way. So if you think about it like this, what you're doing is you're putting the battery through its most harsh charging cycle that you can by doing it that way. Lithium ion's a little bit different than other forms of batteries, and the technology again is just getting better all the time. So you charge it, and when you first get it, you got the battery lasts all day. It's great. It's fantastic. Once you've got your new phone, and then a couple of years later, you're like, God, the thing will barely make it home to dinner. Without charging it in, plugging it in to charge it, or you're charging it at work, and you're going, this thing, and it makes sense, and that's okay. So, but here's the deal, guys. Most recent studies here, for instance, a Tesla Model S goes 250,000 miles and has 7% battery degradation. So on that in particular model, I think it's got like a 320-mile range. Not a fact, it's a guess. So with that said, if it's lost 32 miles of its range, it's still about 300 miles. Not bad at all. Another one on here citing that there's Chevy Volt out there that has, and now that's a gas electric hybrid, but that has 400,000 miles on it, and has no noticeable battery degradation. It's still running its cycle of average of 37 miles. So that's pretty strong. I mean, that's pretty good. Um, so the article on that is going to come through EvanX. I'm going to try and give all the credit that I can find here. So it's by EvanX, EvanNex, and again I found this on Inside EVs. Okay, so if we go a little farther down here, and it says, so the issue at hand is kind of coloring the way that we look at a battery. Charging cycles. Cell phones have really small batteries, so um, fit it in your pocket, blah, blah, blah. So bottom of the line is you drain the battery all the way, you recharge it till it's 100%, and then you drain it all the way. And then, you know, when a cell phone battery runs out of charge, it's just dead. You know, it's over. You're gonna have to plug that thing in. You might get the phone to barely turn on for a second before it turns off, but you still have a dead battery. You can't make a phone call. You know, can't send a text or anything like that when you've got a dead battery. Cars are a little different. When the Spark, for instance, that I have runs out of energy, I still have about 20% energy left, maybe not 20%, but close, kind of rounding figures up. So the battery is not completely dead, and it's because the car still needs to function. It still needs to condition the battery, and that's how they're getting some of this longevity out of these newer battery packs for these cars, is they condition the battery where they actually have found that the batteries, you know, function better, charge better, and last longer if they maintain an average temperature of about 70 degrees. So extreme cold, you are going to get what a lot of folks are citing as battery degradation, and it's not really the case. The battery is going to drain, discharge a lot quicker when it's colder out or hotter out, but by conditioning the battery, you're still going to have, you know, a very reasonable battery life on this thing, or discharge rate. So here's the deal: is even when my car is off, and you walk by it sometimes, you'll hear it start to click and whir and buzz, and you're like, you know, what the hell is wrong with this thing? And there's nothing wrong. It is doing the battery conditioning, so it's either heating or cooling the antifreeze that it's pushing through the battery pack, kind of like a radiator, if you will, to heat or cool the batteries so that they maintain a temperature. And it's just amazing. I mean, the car's always opening valves and doors and stuff to, you know, and turning on pumps and this and that to condition the battery. So really, really cool stuff. Now, the early Nissan Leaf, those guys had a little bit of a problem where they were about to get whacked with a class action battery, or, you know, lawsuit for the battery. But the reason for that is that the batteries like overheating or freezing, and they were degrading because they didn't have any type of cooling or maintenance system, conditioning system on board for the vehicle to be able to handle this. So if you look at a vehicle battery a little different, a electric vehicle battery, and you take, for instance, your cell phone, we'll just lay out like a regular battery, you know, if you will, maybe take, you know, for instance, your cell phone, okay? And then, so this is your battery, we're going to assume that. And then if you take and you draw a little line right here and leave that amount of charge in there, so maybe 10% charge here, and then when you know, get over on the other end, you kind of cut it off a little bit early, which is what Tesla, I understand, does. And then you're only charging from here to here, so you're basically using, you know, from 10% to 90% on your battery to give it that longevity. Staying, charging within those parameters gives the battery much longer life, and many more charge cycles. Your phone battery has a few hundred charge cycles that it's going to handle before it starts to peter out. Cars are a little different, and it's a little more expensive proposition on a car. So when they start conditioning the batteries and limiting the amount of charge that you can actually use as a driver, it's what it's doing is protecting you. It's protecting the battery. It's giving you more usability of that battery. So for instance, a Volt, for instance, it's kind of scary because it's got 18.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, and you can only use 14 kilowatt hours of that battery pack, so it's about 75%. And again, it's to protect that battery. Those things are not going to be cheap when they go bad, and realistically, they were designed to last the life of the car. So here's what's kind of cool. The warranty on the battery is 8 years. The average lifespan of a vehicle for most individuals is 3 or 4. So you're going to get rid of the car anyway. Now, if you decide to keep that car, let's say, the Spark. I really enjoyed the Spark, and I'm going to say that maybe, 6 years down the road, I'm still liking this car. Now, if the battery goes bad at this point, there will be a replacement available to me, but do I want to invest that money back into this car? For instance, on the same note, if you have a new Subaru, for instance, if the engine goes bad in 6 years, are you going to put the money back into it to replace that engine? Probably not, because it doesn't make financial sense. I guess it's going to depend on what the replacement cost of that battery is on this car and what I feel that the car is worth. I don't go off of book values like everybody else. I go off of personal value. If I think the car is worth something, is whether or not I'm going to repair it. If I don't think the car is worth something, then, at that point, it's time for me to find another vehicle. And maybe you're that way also. You gotta, they're a tool. They get you from A to B, and no car out there, with the exception of, old hot rod, really, is going to be worth anything, and they all got to go from, brand new all the way down to where they're just useless garbage, and then they start to come back up. And usually it's through restoration, somebody that, really cares for these cars and what have you. Some of them are original condition, but have been very, kept very, very well care of, or good care of. But it's not going to happen with the majority of the automobiles on the market today. So, in essence, a car is a disposable item. They're good for a few years. We get bored with them. We change them quick. We hate when people smack them up, and we got to get them fixed. They aren't the same, blah, blah, blah. So, in essence, a car is like your underwear. And if you keep that in mind, you're going to change it periodically. Hopefully a little more frequently on the underwear. But you get the idea. Batteries on the newer cars are climate conditioned. So whether you have it in a garage or not, doesn't matter. The car is always going to be conditioning that battery off and on to be able to maintain that battery's lifespan. They're willing to warranty the battery of the vehicle for 8 years, over 100,000 miles. Believe me, manufacturers do not want to spend money replacing batteries. It's a losing battle, okay? But there's absolutely no reason why an electric vehicle can't go 17, 18, 19, 20 years like a car, okay? 250,000 or more miles. There's a couple of them on here right now. I would really highly recommend that you get in here and you check out this article if you're interested. If not, you just got a little bit smarter on, what they climate condition the battery, and they don't allow you to use all of that battery's power to help maintain its value, its life cycle, and its charging. Remember, things that are going to affect you if you have an electric vehicle. It's cold outside, so you're going to run the heater. You're drawing more electricity. If you've got the lights on, you're drawing more electricity. You got the radio on, more electricity. You're got the wipers on and they're defrost, more and more electricity. So things like that are what is going to impact your range on these vehicles. Temperature and battery usage. So the more things you have on an electric car, the shorter distance it is going to travel. The less things that you have on an electric car, the further it will travel. The nice part about the Spark is when I pound the gas on this thing, I'm just going to call it gas because that's what I'm used to calling the accelerator pedal. So when you hit the gas, when you floor it, you can drain that battery. It'll allow you to drain that battery at an incredible rate. But remember, when you do this stuff, you are draining your battery really, really quick, okay? So drive somewhat responsible. Have fun. I mean, good Lord, that thing's got 400 pound-feet of torque on the front wheels, or 327. Whatever it is, it's ridiculous. I think mine was 327. I think they toned it back for 15. And I'm okay with it. Thing's still stupid fast from 0 to 90. Okay? Who really needs to do 90 miles an hour anymore? I really don't. There's too much traffic out there. Is it fun? Oh yeah, it's fun. I get it. I understand. But is it practical? Not really. That little electric vehicle out there, that's really practical. The battery seems to be in excellent condition. When it's 30 degrees out and I've got the lights on and the heater going and the radio blaring, that thing's still telling me it's getting, 65 miles is what it's supposed to get, and then they have a variance of a low end and a high end. But the average is in the middle, and that's what it should get. And I found that it will really do that average or a little bit better as long as I am being a little sensible when I'm driving. Folks, I hope this helps you out a little bit. Remember, I am not your father, and you're not. I've got some links down below to Amazon for some different equipment that I use. In fact, I'll probably just put my regular link in there. I use a GoPro camera. I use a Yeti microphone. I've got a laptop. And here's the thing. Right now we're in the middle of kind of a crisis. I could use all the help I can get, and I know you can too. So if you use my link, you're going to Amazon anyway. Might as well just use my link. Go get your stuff. You'll still get your same great price, and I will get a little credit for it, so it helps me out as well to help bringing you this content. Hopefully I'll get to see you soon. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment, and have a great day.